Hello, and welcome to my review for Doctor Strange. So, this film revolves around the main character, Doctor Strange, who is in a giant car accident and breaks his hands and therefore has to quit his job because his hand requires using his hand 100% completely all the time. So in order to try to fix that, he asks somebody, and because he asked that person, he goes to a foreign country, goes into a place and meets these people who have all this strange magic. They can do really strange things, and because of that, Doctor Strange starts to become fascinated with it and wants to learn about it. So this film I was very excited for because it's, I believe, the 13th or 14th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and generally speaking, I like all of the Marvel films. I know some people who dislike them, and I honestly don't understand. They're all enjoyable, well done films that I like to watch. Some of them aren't so great, like Iron Man 2 or Thor. Some of them are on the weaker side, but generally I like all of them. But the main reason I was excited because of the stars. Benedict Cumberbatch, Tilda Swinton, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Mads Mikkelsen. This cast was full of stars. It had a lot of famous people and a lot of things going for it. The director wasn't so great. He hasn't really directed too many great films in the past, but besides that, I was just generally excited for this movie, and I can say that I liked this movie. I didn't like it as much as I was expecting. I was expecting a better movie, but I can say that I did indeed like this movie. Probably my biggest plus is the thing that I was excited most about it, the cast. Everybody did so well in their roles. Benedict Cumberbatch, he was playing some sort of like this confident, pompous guy that's, really... He really thinks like a lot of himself and not much of other people, and usually when people do those roles, they make it huge, they make it big, they make it bombastic, they're in your face about it. Benedict didn't necessarily do that. He sort of kept it back and made it more subtle. And while some will see that as bad acting, I don't really understand why, because that's something that we don't see very often. A lot of people have to be in your face to be a giant, arrogant person on screen, but Benedict wasn't, which I did really like. And Tilda Swinton, would have been nice if they would have casted someone of the diversity of the Enchantress in the comic books, but okay, they went with Tilda Swinton, and she did a really good job. She could have came off very stale and very weak, but she didn't. And also, Chiwetel Ejiofor, he did a great job playing the character that he did. He could have sort of faded in the back and sort of became a back character, and because the script didn't necessarily give him a lot of backstory, the script sort of made him weak, but Chiwetel was able to make a good character out of it. Also, I'm forgetting his name now, but Benedict Wong, or something like that, Chinese actor, also did a very, very good job, and Mads Mikkelsen, he was put more in the back, which was annoying, but he still did a really good job on screen. Also, I know everybody has said this, and I'm going to repeat it, but it's worth repeating. The CGI in this movie is absolutely phenomenal. I'm shocked how good it looks. Usually in the MCU, they have a lot of weak CGI, or not weak CGI, but just bland CGI and bland cinematography because they focus more on the story. And this film has practically the opposite of that. The CGI is stunning. It's fantastic. It's some of the best I've ever seen put on screen. I mean, people were comparing this to Inception, and I love Inception. It's a better movie, but Inception CGI is nowhere close to this at all. And also, the cinematography was just great. It didn't necessarily make the CGI the only thing going on screen, but it still made it like a big, huge focal point, which was really well done. The humor also did work well in most instances. There are quite a few where they go for the jokes and it doesn't work, but I'd say 70 or 75% of the time the humor did work really well. And also the action, just complemented with the CGI, the action and CGI are both great. I mean, it's just so awesome to see this be done on screen. It's awesome that they were able to do a Doctor Strange movie, such a weird and odd character. However, I do have a lot of issues with the movie, and a lot of them are really big and they stand out really in your face, which is the story to the film is weak. It's very cliche of what the MCU does. You've seen it many times put on screen before, only this time the build up to it was so short. it's sort of, I understand that it was many years that passed by, but the film made it seem like a week or two, which felt very off. They didn't necessarily make time go by quickly, and I don't think you need a montage or 5 years later to pop up on screen in order to show that time's passed, but they didn't necessarily do it all too effectively, and it felt like this portion of the movie was build up and this portion of the movie was action with a few breaks here and there, and that was disappointing. I'd like to see a better flow in the film, and the editing definitely could have been a lot better. It's really brought nothing new to the table. Like I said, it's very much the standard Marvel movie, and which was really disappointing. Other than the CGI, I would say that this film is forgettable. I don't think I'll remember this film or any specific event that happens in it for too long. It's really just shots of CGI that I'll remember. You know, the bending of the buildings and sort of like towards the beginning when Benedict Cumberbatch is just getting into, or Doctor Strange is just getting into his training, and Tilda Swinton's character just does some crazy stuff to him. There are shots of CGI there that I'll definitely remember, but besides that, the story is just very weak and it makes the film forgettable, which was very disappointing because if anything, I thought that this film would not be forgettable. And also, I do need to bring up, it happens in practically every single Marvel movie, other than Ultron and a couple other people. It's the exception, but the villain in this film was very weak. Mads Mikkelsen did a great job acting it out, but they sort of just put him in the back and had him come in. He really had no motives. He did have motives, but they were very weak, and I didn't necessarily care about them, and that really made for a weak villain. Now, overall, I did like Doctor Strange. It's a film I can recommend going out and seeing. It's just, it was disappointing because I was expecting a lot more, especially just because of the trailers, which were fantastic. But all in all, I'd say I'd give Doctor Strange a 6.5 out of 10. Definitely a good movie, not a great one, though. Alright, that concludes my review. What did you think of Doctor Strange? Comment in the comment section below. I am Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.